Welcome back to A Frugal Homestead. Today we're going to be replacing the engine on this old yard machine rototiller. I ended up burning out the engine, and so today we're going to replace it with this 212cc engine, the Predator engine with the horizontal shaft that I ended up getting from Harbor Freight. I've read great reviews on it. It should end up fitting on here just perfect. Replacing this Tecumseh engine, so we're going to get right into it right now. So the first thing we're going to need to do is pull off the cover to the belt. After we get underneath the belt, we'll be able to access the bolts to get the engine off. So we're going to start by removing the cover for the belt. We'll remove the belt and we'll go from there. So the first thing we're going to end up using is a T27 Torx bit. Those are going to be used to pull both of these off right here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these. Come out pretty easy. There's going to be 2 of those. Make sure you have a good spot that you can keep a hold of those. So the next thing we'll need to do is pull off these nuts here. So there's going to be 3 of them. There's one here, there's one here underneath, and then there's also one right over here at the back of the machine down here. So to take those off, you're going to need a 7/16 socket, or you can use just a wrench if you want. But I've got a socket, so I'm going to go ahead and do that to make it as easy as possible. Just pop them off. Once again, just make sure you got a good place to store them. One down here. And then finally, the last one being over here. From there, we're ready to go ahead and pull off the cover itself. So it is a little tricky. Make sure you get it off those knobs, and then it always gets a little stuck right there, but you can just rock it back until you can get it off. Set that aside. Switch to a 1/2 inch socket, and we're going to end up taking off the belt guard, which is going to be right here hidden underneath the belt. There's going to be 2 of those bolts, so we'll just go ahead and pull those off. So push the belt out of the way, and then put your driver on there and pull them out. And they do have a washer on them. The second one is down here. Go ahead and do the same thing. Pull the belt back and then pull that right off. Okay. Rotate the belt backwards and just loosen it off there. Then it's free to come off. Should have popped the guard off first, but once you've done that, then you're able to just slide this out. Both the belt and the guard came off. And so I'm also going to end up replacing this belt. This belt is pretty worn, as you can see. So I do have a replacement belt that we'll put on once we're done. So the next thing we're going to do is actually remove the engine. We're ready to pull the engine off, and it has 4 bolts. Those bolts are going to be up here at the front. There's going to be one right here and then one right here. The only way to access them, though, is from underneath. Same on the back. The 2 on the back, once again, kind of hidden, but they're both right here. And then all the way on the other side, once again, those are accessed from underneath. So you can flip it over if you want. What I'm going to end up doing for the first 2, just because I've done it before, I'm going to end up doing the first 2 right here, and then I'll flip it over because inside the bumper, you have to use an extension, and it's hard to find if you don't flip it over. So at least on these ones, though, I can feel for them without an extension on it and get it off. There's one. Bring it around to the other side. Second one is right here. Same deal. Feel for it and drive it out. So in order to get the next 2, what I always do is I end up flipping it onto its side. Gently. And the gas has already been drained out of this, so we don't need to worry about that. So then the final 2 bolts are going to be up inside here. Can't see them really, so you have to feel a little bit. So you are going to need to put an extension on your drill. Once again, still using the 1/2 inch. The engine is laying down, so it's not going to fall. We'll go ahead and put this on those 2 bolts and then pull them off. Go get a little light in there. There's one. And the second one in there, okay. All right, so now the engine has been released, so we'll go ahead and tip it back up and I'll show you the next step. We actually need to go ahead and remove this portion here. This is what the belt goes in. So we're going to end up needing a 9/16 socket, so they ended up changing on us. So 9/16, and I know you'd think that you've got to hold this steady, but this will actually come right off as you put this on here. Just put a little pressure on it and it pops right off. Okay, so then you've got the washer and the bolt, and then these will actually slide right off too, as long as it's not super rusty, which mine is not. So you've got the key and that one, and then they end up going together. Okay, so from there, we just need to do everything in reverse. We're going to end up putting this back together on the new engine. So we'll go ahead and pull that out, and we'll bring it to that point. So once you get the box open, you're going to end up having on top, you're going to have the instruction manual. Put that in a safe place so you know the exact maintenance guidelines, things of that nature. The protective casing, and then the actual engine itself. So see if we can get this out here. I did go ahead and remove the key that came with it because we don't need it. It actually already has a key on this. So you're going to end up setting this on this way. Let it slide down. And then just line up the key on that one. And it will slide down as well.
All right, so I wanted to pause the video right here and let you know that it's at this point in the project that I became somewhat frustrated with this Predator engine, only in the sense that the shaft length on the Predator as well as the shaft length on the Tecumseh are two different sizes. In fact, the Predator has a shaft length that's about 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch longer than the one that came on the Tecumseh. So I had to improvise and throw a couple of spacers on this new engine in order to get it to line up perfectly with the pulley system so the belt would align with the other pulley. The other issue that I ran into is the fact that the bolt that fits on the Tecumseh inside of that shaft to hold everything in place was actually a different size and length than the one that would actually fit inside of the Predator. So I ended up having to go to the store and buy a different bolt that would fit into the Predator engine. Unfortunately, in my frustration, this part of the video did not get recorded as far as me adding the spacer on and putting the correct bolts to go along with that pulley system. In the next part of the video, you'll see me mounting the engine directly to the rototiller.
All right, so I'll show you what I ended up having to do here. So I ended up having to put some spacers on it right there because the shaft was a little bit longer, and that may end up causing a little bit of an issue when I go to put the cover back on, but for now we're going to leave it like that with the spacers. Next thing we're going to do is just mount the engine on, and I actually ended up buying some new hardware for it to use. So I'm going to line up the holes, and probably what I'll end up having to do is just doing these back ones first and then laying it down on its side. Okay. Do the same thing with this guy. Okay, perfect. And so as not to hurt this, we'll lean it onto this. Okay. Okay. And And give it some oil and we should be good to go. So we'll go ahead and do that. So go ahead and turn it to start, and give it a go. Look at that. Look at that, running like a champ. There you go. Now we just gotta prove that it works.
there you have it. A bit of elbow grease and a reliable Harbor Freight Predator engine have breathed new life into this old rototiller. This machine is already proving its worth, cutting through the compacted soil of the chicken coop run with ease and setting the groundwork for a healthier and more productive space for the flock. Homesteading's all about resourcefulness, reviving tools, finding creative solutions, and making the most of what you've got. Each project, big or small, is a step towards a more self-sufficient and sustainable life. Whether it's fixing up old equipment, planting a garden, or tending to the animals, these efforts bring us closer to the land and a simpler, more rewarding way of life. Thanks for joining me on this journey. If you found this project helpful or inspiring, be sure to like and subscribe for more homesteading adventures.